Today, I'm going to share with you the next level of meditation techniques through which we can establish deep focus and a great deal of self-empowerment with respect to our thoughts, emotions, and physical health. Now, this technique I'm going to share with you is part of the Azuron technique, but with meditation as the primary purpose. So today, healing is not the primary purpose. Meditation and its focus and gaining control over your emotional state, over your thoughts that engage with your senses, that's the technique we're going to learn, because the more control you gain and the more focused you become, the faster you'll rise in meditation. So, of course, when we come to the healing part, we will work with the same technique, but the steps will be slightly different. Now, I believe, honestly, that you will enjoy the process with practice. And with practice, you will perfect it as a life tool. Because to date, we have learned meditation in so many different stages. This one ties it together and gives you an alternate route. You may choose to follow it, you may choose to stay with what you're already comfortable with, but it's your choice. It's at your discretion. Now, last week we learned about healing ourselves using the Azuron technique. Now, very briefly, the Azuron technique is a simple, practical, meditative technique that empowers each one of us to sharpen out our focus, to heal ourselves, to restore our body, mind, and emotions, and to maintain a continuous state of well-being. So the Azuron technique is a very useful life tool. Now let us look at the body and its 6 energetic fields and intelligence fields, and let me walk you through them for those who are seeing it for the first time today. Here you have the 6 fields, and we talked about them as having their focal points, which are like golden balls and all going up together through that golden thread all the way up. So you start with the light field, and then the next one is your sensory field, so it's this area. Then you got, and the sensory field we'll learn a lot more about today, so we'll pick that up in a few minutes. Then you've got the air field, which governs your respiration, your flow of oxygen, your discharge of carbon dioxide. So that's your respiratory field. Then there's the field of flow, which is in the center of your solar plexus, which governs all the flow of fluids through your body, collects nutrients, delivers it, takes waste, brings it out. So this is your lymphatic system. Everything's governed by the field of flow. Then you've got the field of cleansing, which is where all your organs for cleansing are located, from your intestines to your liver, kidneys, all the organs that cleanse your body are located in this field. And then finally, you've got the earth field, which is what connects your body to the earth. And so when we did the alignment, we aligned ourselves completely from light, which is the light of our Creator, our universal light, and we took that and aligned ourselves all the way down. So that's the 6 fields. And I also explained that these 6 fields, these golden balls, we have 6 niches in our body. And a niche is a hollow. So the first niche is here in the center of your forehead. This niche connects you to your source of life energy, which is your light field. So this is the center of light, this niche. It's the niche of light. Then the next niche is the next hollow under your chin. You can feel it as I explain. So again, if you're not sure where the niches are, you just look for the hollows. So this is the center of peace. So between these 2 niches, you've got the sensory field. Then you go down to the next niche, which is in the middle of your neck, connecting to your collarbone. And that is the field of air, which is from here to here. Your next niche is in the middle of your chest, in the solar plexus. and that is your field of flow. The next niche is just above the pubic area. Again, you will see a hollow in the bone, and that is your cleansing, center of cleansing. And then the next one is between your 2 feet, which is the earth. So look for the niches. When we align, we go from niche to niche, okay? Let's now look at the diagram of the 6 fields. And as I explained, these are the 6 fields. The shape of the fields is the shape of a conical pyramid. It's like a vortex. It's a vortex that starts from the smallest of the small and goes into the universe with the smallest of the small. And it expands to the largest of the large. But this shape never closes, it never stops. So it's infinite. And this is how life energy flows. This is how thought and intelligence flows. So this is the light field, where you take light from the universe, from the universal consciousness, and you bring it to the center of your forehead. So you're bringing that light to your body. And then the next field is the sensory field. And this is where all your senses are located: touch, taste, sight, smell, hearing. And so these plus your mind, they're all in here. And the organ, the brain, is also here. So this is one of the most important and most profound fields for our health, well-being, healing, clarity, how we go through life, emotions, everything. So today we are going to work with this field. Then the next one is the field of air, which is which lies between the hollow in your chin, the niche at the bottom of your chin, which is the center of peace, and then it comes here to the center of air. So this is the gaseous exchange in your body. Then you've got the field of flow, which starts from the field of air and comes down to the center of your chest, and that's where your heart is located, and all the fluids that flow in your body are governed from here. Then you've got the field of cleansing, which is where all your cleansing organs are. And finally, this is the last field that connects you to the earth. And this outer field is the full being, your full being. But what it is, in fact, is an extension of the light field going all the way to the earth. So the universal consciousness and the consciousness of nature are constantly with you, flowing through you, and in this full being field. And today we will work with this field, and the full being up to here. But the full being just keeps going down, okay? So last class, we learned to open the light field. And today we will practice it further. However, our main focus today is the sensory field. Now, what is the sensory field? The sensory field resides between the center of our forehead and the base of our chin, between these 2 niches. Center of the forehead is the center of light, and the base of our chin is the center of peace. So the sensory field resides in this area. It is the field that houses our eyes, through which we see everything, our ears, through which we hear sounds, our nose, through which we breathe and sense smell, our tongue, through which we taste our food, water, and everything else, and our skin, with all its senses, through which we can sense touch. Not only here in the sensory field, but also you can sense touch in your entire body. But it's controlled by the sensory field. And the sensory field also houses the brain in this area and all its connections to the rest of the body. Now, Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita reflects a spiritual connection with the sensory field through these beautiful words. And let's explore the wisdom he has shared. Sri Krishna says, the soul in the body is an eternal portion of myself. So he's saying that the soul in your body is the eternal part of your Creator, which is the universal consciousness or the God consciousness. So your soul emerges from there. That's what Sri Krishna is saying. And he says it attracts the five senses, the mind being the sixth. So the soul in the body is an eternal proportion of myself. It attracts the five senses, the mind being the sixth. Then he says, the soul, while dwelling in the ear, the eyes, touch, taste, smell, and mind as well, enjoys the object of the senses. So the soul, while dwelling in the ear, eyes, touch, taste, smell, and mind, enjoys the object of the senses. So you can see that your senses are engaged and connected to your higher spiritual self. So Sri Krishna considers the mind as a sense as well, a higher level of sense. And this is important to note. And it does make sound logic, because how else can the five senses and all its features come together to give us the human experience? They need to be part of the mind, and this mind integrates everything and delivers us the human experience. The Holy Quran also says, it says, and he gave you faculties of hearing, sight, and feeling, and understanding. So he gave you faculties of hearing, sight, feeling, and understanding. So here too, you see, understanding is a reference to the mind, which is referred to as a faculty. And both these scriptures carry a very similar message. And I'm sure that there will be similar references in the rest of the scriptures, like the Bible and the Testaments, etc., because they all carry that same timeless wisdom. When Sri Krishna uses the word enjoys the object of the senses, what does that mean? There are many ways to interpret his words, but in my view, the object of each sense is the output it produces. The object of sight is seeing, for example. The object of the five senses come together, and the experience that they create in the sixth sense, of which is the mind, all adds up to create the human experience. So the object of the five senses and the experience that they create in the sixth sense, which is the mind, all add up to create the human experience, which Sri Krishna says the soul enjoys. So the soul enjoys the human experience. Because remember the saying from my book, Parables from the Origin, which we have all shared before. It says, the origin is light. Light brings life. Life brings experience. Experience brings knowledge, and knowledge is light. So that's the full circle. The origin is light. Light brings life. Life brings experience. Experience brings knowledge. And knowledge is light. So that's the whole purpose and circle of life. So here, origin, light, and life represent the soul. So when Sri Krishna talks about the soul, it is the origin, the light, and life. So that's what he is referring to. And the experience, in inverted commas, is the object or purpose of the senses, which the soul enjoys. So the experience is the purpose of the senses, which the soul enjoys. And knowledge is what the soul gains from the experience, which the soul takes with it. So knowledge is what the soul gains from the experiences which come from the senses and the mind, and the soul takes this knowledge with it. And this logic is borne out further by Sri Krishna when he says, when the soul leaves the body or gives up the body, he leaves taking these senses and mind as the wind carries the scents from their places. So as the soul leaves the body, he leaves taking these senses and mind as the wind carries the scent from their places. So the senses and mind leave with the soul as part of the knowledge that the soul carries within it. Because they are the basis of that knowledge. Without that experience, that knowledge would not exist. And knowledge is the light of the soul. So you see how the scriptures so gently tie together all the universal truths we know about. And all the scriptures carry that same timeless wisdom. So my dear friends, the words of Sri Krishna and the reference in the Quran here further reinforce the importance of the sensory field. And this is what I wanted to point out to you, that this sensory field is very important, not just for bodily health, but also for spiritual growth. And this is an aspect that I would say that we really need to think about, and it may not have been obvious to most of us. Hence, the sensory field has a deeply sacred dimension, which we can draw upon in healing, in meditation, in alignment, and lots more. So this field is sacred. It's very special because, the soul engages with the mind, with the senses. It all happens here, and this engages with the light field, which is the universal consciousness. So when we work with this field, it's extremely, extremely empowering. Today, before we start our meditation, I will share with you step by step how to use the light and sensory fields to create the deep focus we need in our higher search in meditation. This is a new step in our meditation preparation process. We've learned so many to prepare ourselves for that full focus when we can practice our linkage word. This is a new step, and it's in the same direction. And I think we are all ready as a group, after almost a year of practice together, to learn this new step forward. So, based on everything we have discussed so far, we can surmise that the sensory field is our command center. And it is one of the most important energetic and intelligence fields that impacts everything that happens in our body, mind, and emotions, all governed by the sensory field. And in addition to being the command center, the sensory field is also the home of the following gifts from our Creator. Number one, it is the home of our mind, which integrates the rest of our senses, creating what the scriptures have referred to as understanding. It embodies our thoughts and intelligence. All the thoughts that we give birth to and their life energy come from the sensory field. It is therefore the home of our intelligence, which governs the entire body with perfection, because the sensory field is the home of the mind. Through thought and intelligence, our sensory field communicates with water in our body, which is the primary carrier of intelligence fields. We all think that it is our nerves, but nerves simply carry impulses and instructions, which flow like electric currents to the rest of the body and organs. But it's actually water that carries the full intelligence matrix of our body. And 85+% of our body that's why it's water. All our organs are water-based. Water makes up our blood, our tissue, and everything. And this makes up every cell in our body highly intelligent. And now we have all looked at the works of Masaru Emoto, where he used thoughts and placed them with water and then froze the petri dish with the thought and then photographed the crystals. We have presented all these images, and I've talked at some length in a number of our videos. So in the interest of time, I won't show them here again, but please look them up. The next gift of the sensory field is our core memory, which also resides in the sensory field. And we all know about memory, so I won't elaborate further, except to recognize that our memory does get adversely impacted when the sensory field is out of alignment. Memory erosion is one sign of this. And when we align that sensory field properly, which we will do in the healing session when we learn about how to heal ourselves, it should give us a great opportunity to slow down memory erosion and even actually recover our memories. The fourth gift is our awareness. Awareness I put in inverted commas. What we see, what we hear, what we touch, taste, smell, all brought together by the mind, becomes our awareness and perceived reality. When you wake up in the morning and open your eyes, your awareness is fully engaged. You know where you are, and all aspects of your material experience are aligned and in place. So that's why we all know what our awareness is from the moment we wake up. But when the sensory field works with perfection, our awareness is completely clear. Now, our favorite angels, Cyrus and Luminous, were visiting a youth camp in Canada, where Cyrus was a guest speaker for the campfire discussion. And his topic was meditation. And in his own simple way, he explained to the youths what the sensory field does. And these young people were actually fascinated with the very concept of having such a field that they could actually work with practically to improve their health and well-being, and also to create focus and clarity, something a lot of them were having trouble with. So Cyrus explained to them why awareness is a great strength that each one of us has been blessed with, and why stability and alignment of the sensory field is of paramount importance. And he decided to share a joke with them to lighten the conversation. So he asked them, how many of you have ever tried alcohol or drugs? They all raised their hands. Cyrus and Luminous were taken aback, but they were impressed with their openness and honesty. These young people had nothing to hide. So then he asked them, how many of you have experienced being totally drunk or stoned? And only a handful of kids raised their hands. The rest, the majority, had never experienced what it was like to lose control of their awareness. So Cyrus said to them, let me share with you a story of two people in a pub in northern England. Both these people were totally drunk and out of their minds. He says one of them, whose name was Tom, stood on top of this bar stool and pushed his hand against the ceiling. So he's standing on this high stool and he's got his hands stuck, pushed against the ceiling. The other guy, whose name was Mo, kept reading his magazine, page by page. So here you've got one drunk whose he stuck his hand into the ceiling. The other guy is happily reading his magazine. So Cyrus asks Mo, the guy who's reading the magazine, what is your friend Tom doing up there with his hand glued to the ceiling? So Mo laughed and replied, he is so drunk that he thinks he's a light bulb. So Cyrus said, oh my goodness, let me bring him down right away before he hurts himself. And Mo looks perplexed at Cyrus and says, you are even more drunk than he is. If you pull him off the ceiling, how will I be able to read my magazine? So there you go. So Cyrus shares this story with the youths in a humorous way, but shows the impact of what happens when your faculty of awareness is gone. And he says to them that intoxicants like alcohol and drugs, when taken in excess, make your sensory field unstable. And this hurts your awareness, which is then, when your sensory field is unstable, it then reflects in your state of mind, in your mood, your behavior, and your physical health and more. And he added to these young people, he said, those of you who have been drunk will know that waking up in the morning with a hangover is not fun at all. So please be aware that your sensory field can be largely impacted by your habits. Cyrus then said, "One of you asked me earlier if alcohol consumption affects us in meditation." He said, "My answer is absolutely yes." So, my dear friends, now we can understand better why excessive intoxicants can impact our focus in meditation. Because the sensory field houses the mind, and it has sacred dimensions to it, which we seek to draw upon during meditation. If you weaken or disorient this field with excessive alcohol, for example, you will find it very difficult to focus. Because you will not be grounded, and your awareness will be distorted. So it is not worth trying to meditate when one is in a state of flawed awareness. It's better to just let it go, don't do it, don't try, don't waste your time, and it's just be a frustrating exercise. So let us recap what our sensory field embodies. It embodies our mind, our brain, the organ, our thoughts and intelligence, our awareness, and finally, our emotions. All the key emotions that we experience, all our feelings, originate in the sensory field. This is where they are born, and this is where they derive their energy from. Thoughts and emotions go hand in hand together. Now, next class we will take a deep dive into understanding our emotions and how they can impact our health, and how we can heal ourselves from their negative impact. So let us summarize the sensory field with this simple illustration that the team has put together for you. So you can see the sensory field exists between the center of light, which is in the center of your forehead, and the base of your chin, which is the center of peace. And in this field, in the form of this vortex, this conical pyramid, you have sight, you have hearing, you have taste, smell, touch, and the mind. So this is your sensory field. And from the sensory field comes through our awareness, our memory, and our thoughts and emotions. And then these flow to all the fields in the body. And they flow down from the sensory field, down to the air field, the flow, the cleansing, and the earth. So our emotions and our mind and everything that goes on here impacts everything in the body, everything. So we have to work well with this field to keep everything else aligned. So my dear friends, today I'm going to share with you what can be a highly empowering meditation technique. And this technique involves opening our light field and then our sensory field, and creating pure alignment between them, between the light field and the sensory field. Now from here then, our entire body and all its fields can flourish with light and peace, because this is light and this is peace. And the whole body can flourish amidst a well-cultivated focus. So let us start by looking more closely at these two fields. Let me pull up an illustration here, which we will visit 2 or 3 times as I explain the technique to you. So here it is. So what our artist has done is he has taken the full fields and just extracted the light field and the sensory field. Now what we do is that when we open the light field, and I will share with you how, and last class we did practice it, but we'll go through it again. We open the light field through meditation and by using our hands, which go way up as high as they can go, and they go into what you call the tip of that light field, which is the universe, and we draw light from there to the center of our forehead. So we draw light from the universal consciousness and bring it here to the center of our forehead. Then with our 2 hands, one hand goes this way, one hand goes that way, And then our two hands go back up this way. So it's a 3-step process of drawing light. And then you repeat again. You draw light, light, then light, and light. So this is how you open the light field. And if you focus correctly, and many of you did focus well last time, and I got quite a bit of feedback from you, that you actually experience the opening of that field. And if you don't, then keep practicing, because at some point you will. And that's the light field. And then from there, today we will then start from the center of our forehead, which is the center of light. We will bring light to it, and then we will take light all the way into our sensory field. So this light of the universal consciousness, our creator, the consciousness of nature, we bring it all the way into our sensory field, which governs all our senses and the mind. So we then move to a state of enlightened thought, enlightened senses, enlightened mind. So that's the next step. So we bring the light to here, then we bring the light down here, and then we align this field, and we go back up. Now, when we work with this field on its own, we use the word peace, and I will explain in more detail what is the significance of that peace. But we then draw peace from the light, and we bring it down to the center of peace. Then with our hands, we go in these two sides, and we take the peace back up, and we keep bringing it down, and then we go back up. And that's how we align and fill our sensory field with peace. And then there is one more step which I will share with you. So this has 3 moves. 1, 2, and 3 with your hands. This too has 3 moves. 1, with your 2 hands you go on these 2 sides, 2, and 3. But then we are also going to do the full being, which is an extension of the light field, where you could bring light here, then bring it here, and then go this way and go with the full being with light here. And this full being, whatever you bring in here, is also flowing to the rest of your body. Every single element of your being. So that's working with the full being, and I will teach you how to do that. Now let me take a few moments to explain how we can open the sensory field, and then work with it practically. Now, we will use the word peace when we open this field. Now, why do we use the word peace? The scriptures describe the Creator as the source of all peace. The source of all peace. And this peace is different from the peace that we know in our simple material setting. So let us explore this exalted level of peace. The word peace, by published definition, is tranquility and freedom from disturbance. So tranquility and freedom from disturbance. But I consider this definition way too shallow from a meditation and spiritual perspective. I would define peace at this exalted level as, firstly, peace is a state of being. It's a state of being that is underpinned by complete stillness, calmness, and silence. So peace is a state of being that is underpinned by complete stillness, calmness, and silence. Next, peace is a state of being that embodies light and absolute contentment, which expresses itself through pure tranquility and absence of every conflict or turmoil, no matter how subtle it may be. Let me repeat that. So peace is a state of being that embodies light and absolute contentment. complete, no wants, nothing, complete contentment. So light and absolute contentment, which expresses itself through pure tranquility, pure tranquility. And many of the scriptures talk about that peace and that pure tranquility, and they ascribe it to heaven and to various fountains in heaven, and all talk about that pure tranquility and that pure peace that comes from our Creator. And absence of every conflict or turmoil, no matter how subtle it may be. So someone asked earlier about pure present, and I said it had to be everything, absent of everything else. This is what I mean here as well. No form of conflict of turmoil can exist here. And finally, this is peace of the highest order. It is a conscious state of light and oneness between the mind, the soul, and its Creator. So this peace of the highest order is a conscious state of light and oneness between the mind, the soul, and its Creator. So you see, peace has such a deep definition. It's not that basic, freedom from conflict or no disturbance. It's sacred. And when the scriptures talk about the Creator being the source of peace and humanity asking for peace, this is the peace. And when we go into deep, pure form of meditation, this is the peace that we seek to experience. Now let us consider meditation. So far, the meditation steps we have learned in all our classes to date include the following stages. First, we go to the lake, crystal clear water and this beautiful setting, and we focus on stillness and silence as we try to make the water go completely still in the lake. So first we make the water go still till we can see our reflection. Then we make the whole lake go still, so when we look, it's just like a sheet. And then finally, we go into silence. So that's the first stage we have learned, and all of us are pretty good at that now, and we use it in preparing for our daily meditation. Next, we detach from the world, the past and the future, which are represented by the 3 lotus flowers. In some cases, we have used the colored balloons, but we basically cut the cord with the world, the past, and the future, which takes us into the pure present. Then we flow into oneness, where we become one with our Creator and all creation. And finally, we flow into linkage, which is where we focus on a word that describes our source. And this word is either given to us or we have chosen it based on our absolute faith that it represents our Creator, whether we do it from a religious faith point of view or a scientific or a purely universal point of view. But each individual has that utter, complete belief that this represents the source, and whatever we believe the source to be. So the technique we will learn today embodies all these steps, but with some differences now. Because all these steps we have sat back, closed our eyes, and gone through the process. But what we will learn today is to meditate as well as use our hand movements and use and work with our fields to bring these very powerful elements into our being. Now, how do we open the light field? So let me show you, again, go back to our diagram. But when we open the light field, we open it with the word light, because light is synonymous with the light of our Creator. And so we take our 2 hands, place them above our head, and we draw light from the universal or God consciousness. We draw light and bring it to the center of our forehead. Then with our 2 hands, we go light again this way, and then we take our hands up again, each time repeating light. So we go light, light, light. 3 steps, and then we come back light, which is the next cycle. So light, 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 Okay, so that's light. Then again we draw more light. So light, light, light. So that's how you open the light field. And with our eyes closed, with the correct movements, we start developing this amazing energy, and we start to actually begin to sense the light here in the center of our forehead. So that is opening of the light field. The light field starts from as high as your hands can go, up like that. And then you bring light to the center of your forehead, okay, which is the first niche. And this is the center of light. And then we go light, light. So we have completed the 3 steps. We take it again. We draw light from the universal consciousness. We say light, light, light. Now I'd like you to practice it with me. Follow what I'm doing. Take your hands as high up as you can go, and you go light, 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 light. Now, I'd like you to do these moves without me using the word light. Just make the moves on your own. Okay, so we've done this 3 times. Now, close your eyes and imagine just pure light from the universal consciousness. And you draw it to the center of your forehead with light, 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 light. And do this on your own 3 times. So with that, your light field is now open. So if you put your palms together here in that Namaste position, close your eyes and just repeat light. And take in the light, experience it. Light, light, light. The center of your forehead, your light field is open, you are completely filled with light. Experience it for a moment, because it's a blessing. Okay, so now the light field is open. Next, we open the sensory field. So what we'll do is I'll show you the 10 steps, and then we will do it together, as I'll guide you, but you will do all the movements. So the next step, number 2, is to open the sensory field. So we have done this field. And then as we open the sensory field, we take light from here. So we start from the center of our forehead with the word light. We go down, light, Then with our two hands, we go light and light. So another 3-step process. Light, light, light. And this way we fill our sensory field with light. Okay? And then after that, once we've done that, we will come back here to then do it with the word peace. So we've opened the light field, now let's open the sensory field with light. So we did the light field, which was light, light, light. And we brought light up to here. Now we take this light and we go light to the bottom of your chin, light, and back to the center of your forehead, light. That's your second field. Light, 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 light. Now you do that on your own. I will not repeat the words, but I will just do the movements, okay? And you repeat the word in your mind and do it on your own. Okay, so you can all do it now with your now. Close your eyes and let's do the sensory field. So start from the middle of your forehead because your light field is open. You're taking light from there and you're going light and bringing it down to the center of peace, which is at the base of your chin. Light, light, back to the center of your forehead. Light, 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 light. Now do it on your own with your eyes closed, and I won't repeat any words, but with your eyes closed, bring light from the center of your forehead to the base of your chin, outwards and back again to the center of your forehead. Do it 3 times. Okay, so you brought light from the center of your forehead with full focus, brought it to the base of your sensory field, spread it, and back to the light center, and you keep bringing light. So you brought light now into all your senses. So take a moment with your eyes closed and your hands in Namaste position. And just repeat the word light, light. And take in the light in all your senses. Experience this light enlightening all your senses and your mind. Take a moment. Okay, so you can open your eyes. So now we have brought light and enlightened all our senses. Next, we now bring peace from the light. From here, we bring peace, 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 peace. Do it on your own. I won't repeat the words, but I'll do the movement with you. It's exactly the same as the light, but you deeply focus on the word peace. Do it 3 times. Okay, now we will do peace in the sensory field with our eyes closed. So close your eyes. From the center of your forehead, you take peace to the base of your chin. Peace, peace, back to the center of your forehead. Peace, 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 peace. Now do it on your own 3 times. And with your eyes closed and your hands together, take in the peace when you're done. Take a few moments, repeat the word peace, and just take it in. You can open your eyes. You should be at complete peace. You can feel pure peace and light. And this is a beautiful experience. And we have brought light into all our senses and mind. Now we have filled our senses and mind with peace. Now the word peace here is peace of the highest order. So it includes stillness, calmness, and silence. So when we open the sensory field and then we align it with peace, it replaces going to the lake and making the water go still and silent. Because this is now achieved by focusing on peace, at least as it flows through your mind, your senses, and your whole body. So you are now at complete peace. Then we go to the next step, which is practicing the full being. Let me show you the diagram and let me teach you how to do it. There's one more step in the full being. So with the full being, we are working with this outer vortex, which is really the light field going down to the earth. This is the light field going down to all our organs. So when we do the full being, we start with light here. With our hands stretched up, we draw light, and then we bring it one more down, light. Then with our two hands, we go light, and then light. So instead of 3 steps, there are 4 steps. Light, 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 light. Okay? So that is the full being, where you are joining the light field and the sensory field with your entire spiritual being. And as a result, it flows from you all the way down into the earth. So let's practice the full being now. We take our hands to the top and we go light, which is center of your forehead, light, which is base of your chin, light, and back to the top. Because now this is 2 fields together. Light, 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 light. So there's 4 steps instead of 3. Light, 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 light. Keep doing it again. Light, 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 and all the way back up. Light. So this is your full being, because your full being goes this way. And that's what you're doing. Light, 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 light. Okay? And so we're bringing the light from the universal consciousness, from the God consciousness, to the center of our forehead, to the base of our chin, to the full being field, which is the light field, and back up. Okay? So let's do it 3 times, but I won't repeat any words. So now, with your eyes closed, we will do the full being, the 4 steps. So close your eyes, put your hands up right to the top of your light field, and you come down, light. And then you come from the center of the forehead to the base of your chin, light. And then your hands go out in the outer full being, light. And all the way to the top, back into the universal consciousness, light. Let's do it again. Light, 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 light. Light, 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 light. Now do it 3 times on your own, silently. And when you finish, close your eyes, keep your palms together, and take in the light. So you have done your full being with light, from the universal consciousness to the center of your forehead, through all your senses, and back to the universal consciousness. But the full being means that same alignment goes all the way down to the earth and through your body, all your organs, your whole body. So you can open your eyes. Now we will do the same, but we will do it for peace. But before we do peace, note that the full being, there are only 5 words you can use for the full being, which is light, peace, oneness, your linkage word, and gratitude. These 5 you can do the full being. But everything else, such as detach, zero thought, all that, they do just individual fields, which is 3 steps, and these are 4 steps, okay? So we've done the light. Now, as the 4th step, we're going to do peace with the full being, okay? So start from the top. Peace, 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 peace. Now I won't repeat any words, but I'll do the movements with you. Okay, so now we'll close our eyes and we'll do the full being with peace. So hands up and you go peace, 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 peace. And do it on your own 3 times, silently, focusing on the word peace. And when you finish, put your palms together, eyes closed, and just repeat peace, peace. And take in the peace for a couple of moments. Okay, so you can open your eyes. So you are now at complete peace. So we have now done light field, sensory field, full being, and we've done it with light and peace. So we are now building our focus to get ready for linkage. Okay? So the next step is to go to detachment. Now, instead of the lotus flowers for the world, the past, and the future, as we practiced before, we will focus on the word detach in the sensory field alone. Remember, there's only 5 words we can use for the full being, which was light, peace, gratitude, oneness, and linkage. These are the 5 words. But now we're going to detachment. So it's only in this field. So you have completely opened your light field, your peace field, you're completely ready now. And so you start from here with the sensory field only, which is 3 steps, and you go detach, 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 detach. So with this, you've detached from the world, from the past, the future, all your passions, everything you're detaching from. Okay? So do the movements on your own. I won't repeat the words, but I'll do the movements with you. Where the word is detach. And now with your eyes closed, let's do detach. Detach, 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 detach. And now you do it on your own 3 times, quietly. So with that, you have detached from the world, from the past, the future, and all your passions. You're completely detached. Once you've detached, your senses now are disconnected from any of those thoughts. So before you move to the next thought, the next step, you do a full being with peace again. So after detachment, you do peace one more time. Peace, 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 peace. Now close your eyes and do it. Peace, 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 peace. And do it 3 times on your own. So you have now detached and you are at pure peace. And now we go to the next step, which is the seventh step. And here we are going to do the sensory field, and we're going to go to zero thought. So we're going to go in the sensory field, we're going to go with nothingness, 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 nothingness. And then we go absolute zero, absolute zero, absolute zero, absolute zero, absolute zero. So it's nothingness and absolute zero. And so you close your eyes and let's do that. Nothingness we will do twice, and absolute zero we'll do twice. And then we'll go into a meditative state of zero thought. So let's start. Nothingness, 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 nothingness. Now do it quietly on your own with eyes closed. Do nothingness 2 times. And with your eyes closed, you then go absolute zero, absolute zero, absolute zero, absolute zero. Do it twice quietly. And then with your eyes closed, you can place your hands on your thighs and meditate on zero thought. So you've been through nothingness, absolute zero, and now you repeat in your mind, zero thought, zero thought, zero, zero. And stay within the zero for a few moments in zero thought. And if any thoughts come to you, repeat the word zero and stay in it. And then in the nothingness, in the zero, it fills up with the light of oneness. And there is nothingness and pure light. The zero is filled with light. You are filled with light. As you repeat oneness, oneness, oneness. And now it's time to do the full being with oneness. To learn the technique, you can open your eyes, but normally in meditation, you would automatically flow to that. So we open our eyes and we go oneness, 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 oneness. Do it with your eyes closed now. Oneness, 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 oneness. Now do it quietly yourself 2 times. And when you're done with your palms together, you just repeat in your mind oneness and take in that pure oneness. And now you can open your eyes and we do the final step. Again, normally we wouldn't open our eyes, but we do the final step, which is our linkage word. Now, I will use origin, but the reason we do the linkage word with the full being is that we fill every cell in our being with the linkage word. Our whole being must reverberate this word. And once we've done that through the full being, we close our eyes and go into that linkage meditation. So let's do that. We won't do a long linkage meditation, just half a minute, and then we will conclude, and then you have something to practice with. And next time we'll do the whole thing together with eyes closed, all the steps, okay? So you take the linkage word, and I'm going to use origin. So origin, 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 origin. Now close your eyes and follow me with your linkage word. Origin, 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 origin. Do it twice silently on your own with your linkage word. Nice, slow rhythm. Let your whole being reverberate with it. And when you're done, you place your hands on your thighs and carry on repeating your linkage word in nice, slow rhythm for a few more seconds. And now it's time for us to offer our deepest gratitude. Gratitude for today's meditation, for all that we learned. Gratitude for the blessing of light and peace. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And you may open your eyes when you're ready. So we did the full, now you'll be able to go much faster on your own once you practice the 10 steps. We're going to try and produce this video as soon as we can, and then get it out to you before the next class practice. And I'll summarize the 10 steps. The first was the light field with the word light, the sensory field with the word peace, then the full being with the word light, full being with the word peace. Then we did detach in the sensory field, and we did full being again with peace. Then we did nothingness, absolute zero in the sensory field, and then we took a meditation time to be in zero thought and be in zero. And you can stay there for as long as you wish. And then from there you flow into oneness, and then we did the full being with oneness, the full being with linkage, and we closed with gratitude. And when we do the full being with linkage, what happens is your linkage word then becomes completely a part of every cell in your body. So then when you sit and you meditate on linkage, you've detached, you've filled your being with light and peace, you've completely detached, you've gone to zero thought. Sometimes later on as you get better at it, you might just want to stop at zero thought. Go to zero thought, and that's very rejuvenating for the mind to be at that zero state, because you're opening your third eye. And then from there, oneness with the full being and linkage. So this is another way to prepare for your focus meditation. So far we have done it with the lake, the lotus flowers, the oneness, the linkage. This is another way, but this is a different flow, and it takes you to another level. But you need to practice. So God willing, we will get this video. It's quite a big job to produce, which is why the first video took us a bit of time. Please practice that. Once you get this, practice it, so the next time we will do the whole meditation together, but I won't have to repeat each piece because you will have the movements. So with that, I'd like to thank you all very much for being here today, for bringing your light, bringing your love, bringing your positive energy. I hope that you've learned something useful, and I pray that each one of you may always be blessed with the light of our Creator, through which you may be guided, blessed, kept safe and protected, and granted with divine love always. So take care, stay blessed, and see you at Sharing Hope a week from now.